Imagine waking up to find your best friend frozen solid. His last words echoing in your mind, "Find the judge," sounds like the plot of a twisted thriller. Right, well, buckle up. Because this is no fiction, it's the bizarre reality that unfolded in our quiet town just this morning. Our buddy, let's call him Jack, was always the life of the party. Known for his wild stunts and even wilder theories, we never thought his antics would lead to this, but here we are, standing in his living room, staring at his icy form, wondering what the hell happened and who this mysterious judge could be. Now, I know what you're thinking. This has got to be some kind of sick joke. Trust me, we thought so too. But as we inched closer to Jack's frozen body, the gravity of the situation hit us like a ton of bricks. His eyes were wide open, a look of terror etched on his face. It was clear this was no prank. As we stood there, shell-shocked and shivering, and not just from the cold, we couldn't help but replay Jack's last words in our heads. "Find the judge," he had said. His voice urgent and filled with fear. But what judge, and why? The questions swirled in our minds like a tornado, each one more perplexing than the last. We knew Jack had been working on something big lately. He'd been more secretive than usual, spending long hours locked away in his basement. We'd chalked it up to another one of his crazy projects, maybe a homemade rocket or a time machine. But now, standing in the eerie silence of his frozen living room, we realized it might have been something far more dangerous. The clock was ticking. We had to act fast before the authorities arrived, and this turned into a full-blown investigation. With trembling hands, we began to search Jack's house for clues. The basement was our first stop. If Jack had been hiding something, that's where it would be. As we descended the creaky stairs, the temperature dropped dramatically. Our breath came out in visible puffs, and an unsettling chill ran down our spines. The basement was a mess of papers, strange gadgets, and what looked like ice-making equipment. Among the chaos, we found a crumpled note. Jack's messy scrawl covered the page, most of it illegible. But one phrase stood out clear as day: Project Freeze Frame. Below it, a series of numbers and symbols that made no sense to us. Was this the key to understanding what happened to Jack? Just as we were about to dig deeper, we heard sirens in the distance. Panic set in. We had to get out of there, and fast. Stuffing the note into a pocket, we scrambled up the stairs and out of the house, our hearts pounding in our chests. As we ran down the street, the weight of what we just witnessed hit us full force. Our friend was dead. No, frozen, and his last request was for us to find some mysterious judge. We were now caught up in something far bigger and more dangerous than we could have ever imagined. The next few hours were a blur of hushed conversations and paranoid glances over our shoulders. We pored over the note, trying to decipher its meaning. The numbers seemed to be coordinates, but to where? And what did Project Freeze Frame mean? As night fell, we found ourselves huddled in a dingy motel room on the outskirts of town. The news was buzzing with reports of Jack's mysterious death, but we knew the truth was far stranger than they could imagine. We spread out our meager clues on the bed: the crumpled note, a few snapshots from Jack's basement, and our own hastily scribbled theories. It felt like we were in way over our heads, playing detective in a game where the stakes were life and death. Just as we were about to call it quits for the night, a sharp knock at the door made us all jump. We exchanged nervous glances. Who could it be? The police? The judge? Or someone, or something, even more sinister? With trembling hands, one of us approached the door. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. As the door creaked open, we held our breath, ready for anything. But nothing could have prepared us for what we saw. Standing in the doorway was a figure entirely encased in ice, just like Jack. Before we could react, it spoke in a voice that sent chills down our spines. "You're looking for the judge. Well, you found him." In that moment, we realized we'd stumbled into something far more dangerous and otherworldly than we could have ever imagined. The frozen judge stepped into our room, leaving a trail of frost in his wake. We were now face to face with the very entity Jack had warned us about, and our adventure was only just beginning. As the icy figure loomed over us, we couldn't help but wonder, had we just solved one mystery only to become entangled in an even greater one? What powers did this judge possess, and what did he want with us? More importantly, how were we going to get out of this alive? The room temperature plummeted as the judge spoke again, his words forming visible ice crystals in the air. "Your friend discovered something he shouldn't have," he said, his voice as cold as his appearance. "Now you must decide, will you continue his work, or suffer the same fate?" We exchanged glances, a mix of fear and determination in our eyes. We'd come this far for Jack. There was no turning back now. With shaky voices but steely resolve, we made our choice. "We'll continue," we said in unison. A smile cracked across the judge's frozen face. "Then let the trial begin," he said, raising his arms. In an instant, the world around us began to shimmer and distort. The dingy motel room melted away, replaced by a vast, icy courtroom. We found ourselves standing in the defendant's box, facing a jury box filled with more frozen figures. As the judge took his place at the bench, we realized we were about to face a trial unlike any other in history. The charges: uncovering secrets of the universe that were never meant to be known. The potential sentence: a fate worse than death, eternal freezing. The trial that followed was a blur of impossible physics, mind-bending revelations, and challenges that pushed the very limits of our sanity. We presented evidence we didn't understand, defended actions we hadn't taken, and argued points of cosmic law we couldn't begin to comprehend. Hours or days might have passed. Time seemed to have no meaning in this frozen realm. We fought with every ounce of our being, driven by the memory of Jack and the desperate need to uncover the truth behind his fate. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the judge called for the verdict. The frozen jury deliberated in eerie silence, their icy forms barely moving. We held our breath, knowing that our very existence hung in the balance. "Not guilty," the judge finally proclaimed, his voice echoing through the vast chamber. "You have proven yourselves worthy of the knowledge your friend sought," with a wave of his hand. The icy courtroom dissolved around us. We found ourselves back in the motel room, gasping for breath and drenched in sweat despite the lingering chill in the air. As our eyes readjusted to reality, we noticed something on the bed, a small, glowing cube that definitely hadn't been there before. Next to it was a note in Jack's handwriting: "You did it. Now finish what I started. The fate of the universe depends on it." We looked at each other, a mix of exhaustion, exhilaration, and sheer disbelief on our faces. We had survived the trial, but it was clear that our journey was far from over. Whatever Jack had discovered, whatever power lay within that mysterious cube, it was now our responsibility. As dawn broke outside the motel window, we made a pact. We would unravel this cosmic mystery, no matter where it took us or what dangers we faced. For Jack, for ourselves, and for the very fabric of reality itself. Little did we know, this was just the beginning of an adventure that would take us to the farthest reaches of space and time, challenging everything we thought we knew about the universe and our place in it. But that, my friends, is a story for another time. So, the next time you feel a sudden chill or catch a glimpse of something impossible out of the corner of your eye, remember, the world is far stranger and more dangerous than you could ever imagine. And who knows, you might just find yourself on trial in the court of the frozen judge, fighting for truths that were never meant to be uncovered.